Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Job, the 12th chapter. And Job answered and said, so now he responds back, no doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. And what he's saying here is you guys are speaking like, you, as it says in NLT, you people really know everything, don't you? And when you die, wisdom shall die with you. So you're like the only people that have wisdom, right? That in the way you're speaking to me, you must know everything, right? In fact, if you weren't on the earth, there would be no wisdom, right? Because it's all with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Yea, who knoweth not such things as these? So all the things you're telling me, this is everybody knows that. You know, I also know these things, right? You're not telling me something new here. I am as one mocked of his neighbor, who calleth upon God, and he answereth him. The just, upright man is laughed to scorn. Okay, and now he's once again describing his state here. It's NKJV. I am one mocked by his friends. That's the neighbor who called on God. Now, the mocked here is not, it's like ridiculed, right? It's not necessarily in a sense of like they're like, clowning you or repeating your words in a funny sound. That's what people think of when they hear the word mock nowadays, right? But that's not necessarily what it means here. Okay, it's not saying that they're making fun of you. So as he says, I am one mocked by his friends, who called on God, and he answered him, the just and blameless, who is ridiculed. And that's how Job is saying. He's saying that he is one that is just, who hasn't done anything wrong to deserve this, and yet he is being, ridiculed for some iniquity or some guilt that, they assume he should have, even though he's saying, no, I shouldn't. He that is ready to slip with his feet is as a lamp despised in the thought of him that is at ease, right? So those that are at ease, they don't understand, right, what it's like to be like, as it says, one that is ready to slip with his feet. That being Job, right? It says a lamp despised. Let's see what that footnote is. I don't think these things ever load. It says a lamp despised in the thought of one who is at ease. It is made ready for those whose feet slip. In the NLT, I think it makes more sense here. People who are at ease mock those in trouble. They give a push to people who are stumbling. And he's saying like, you are not in my shoes, right? So it's easy for you to despise me who am about to slip or I'm already falling, because you're at ease and you're not going through it. So you don't see it from my perspective. The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure, into whose hand God bringeth abundantly. Right, it says here, but robbers are left in peace, and those who provoke God live in safety, though God keeps them in his power. And once again, he's feeling like, how is it? And he's going to say it later on as well. How is it that one who is perfect and escheweth evil, who serves the Most High, who, matter of fact, he's so let me just use the word godly, that, or pious, I think that was the word, that he sacrifices for his children, right? Or at least he used to, after they would have their feast, just in case they had done something to offend the Lord and whatnot. And now he's going through situations that are worse than people that actually just do blatant wickedness. And that's why he's feeling like, yo, what's going on here? Right? And so he's saying, right, the tabernacle of like, here it is, the dwelling places of robbers prosper. Those that provoke God, they're secure, right? As it says, in whose hand God bringeth abundantly. So they're good. But as now, or at least that's what it feels like. And today, like you can look at that, right? You can see I think even Ezra complained about something similar. And you can see that when you look around and you're like, why is it that, these Edomites or these other nations that do wickedness are in this, it looks like they're just not touched, right? Like the just due that should come upon them is not coming upon them. But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not in all these things that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this? Right? So who doesn't know that this is all done by the power of the Lord? In whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind? That's heavy, man. The breath of all mankind is in the hand or the power of the Lord. Doth not the ear try words, and the mouth taste his meat? Right. Basically the job, right, of the ears, right, is to try words, examine the things that come into your ears are examined of it, right, and that's how you end up understanding it as it goes into your brain. And the mouth, as it says, tastes his meat, right, it eats food. Okay, that's the job of it. With the ancient is wisdom, and in length of days understanding. With him is wisdom and strength. He hath counsel and understanding. So he's saying, like, I know the power of God, right? I know the Most High. I know he's this, he's that, he's this. There's none that can stand before him. Behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. If the Most High locks you up, nobody can break you free, right? If he breaks down, nobody can build it back up. Behold, he withholdeth the waters, and they dry up, right? If he holds the waters and there's a drought, the land dries up. Also, he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth, right? And then if he, so pleases, he sends the waters again, and the earth is overwhelmed. So you have your floods and so on. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his, right? So both strength, wisdom, it all comes from the Lord. Right? The one is somebody that is deceived, and whoever it is that's doing the deception, the Lord is behind it all anyway. Okay, because the Lord can blind certain people to be deceived, to believe a lie, and he can also put thoughts into others to be deceivers. But they all work to the will or bend to the will of the Most High. Verse 17, he leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. And this is like saying, when you're describing somebody, let's say somebody that's very intelligent, you may say something like, this person is so smart, right, that even counselors look like idiots before him, right? And judges, look like he makes judges look like 2-year-olds, right, in elementary school. And that's just to signify just like how, basically to magnify the intelligence, you could say, right, or power of someone. So in a similar manner here, it says he leadeth counselors away spoiled, i.e. like stripped of their, because counselors are known for wisdom, because they give you advice and wisdom and so on and so forth. But even before him, they're stripped of that is spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. Okay, not necessarily. It's kind of like when it says he chargeth his angels with folly. It's not necessarily that he just like turns a judge into a fool, but just as the scriptures say, the wisdom of this world is foolishness, right, with the Most High. So even the judges that are considered to have some form of wisdom to judge matters are like fools before the Lord. He looseth the bond of kings, and girdeth their loins with a girdle. And here it's saying the bond is like their authority. So he is able to strip kings of their, as it says here, discipline, chastening, correction. That comes by the power or the authority of whoever it is, right, of that king. They can't chastise or correct without that authority. It is that authority that gives them the ability to do so, right, as it says. So he loseth the bond of kings. He's able to strip them of their authority, of their power, and girdeth their loins with a girdle, which when you look at that, you'll see that it says here in the NLT, they are led away with ropes around their waist. And that when you look into it, it basically tells you that it signifies them being brought to a lower status, okay, because of the way kings dressed versus like the common folk. And the pattern in which Job is speaking here is showing that even a king before the Lord is nothing. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth away the speech of the trusty, and taketh away the understanding of the aged. Once again, signifying the power of the Lord, right? It's like saying he leads captivity captive, right? or he makes death afraid. You know, it's it's signifying his power, right? So removing away the speech of the trusty, the trusty are, let's go into that word actually. Right, it says to support, to confirm, to support. So people that are, like it says, verified, right? Ones that are trustworthy. Okay, but even before him, as it says, he removeth away the speech, which is the words, right? Or as it says, yeah, words, lip. So the information wherewith they may be trusted, the Lord is able to strip them of that because that is their glory, right? That is their power. But somebody that's trustworthy, their glory is in the things they tell you that are sure, that come to pass, right? That's what makes them trusty. But before the Lord, they're nothing, right? He's able to strip them of that. And taketh away the understanding of the aged. Aged, being old, comes with time and experience, right? And that is something that gives the aged that respect. That is also in their glory. But once again, before the Lord, that is as nothing, right? He's able to take that away. He poureth contempt upon princes, and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. So these are like things that nobody is able to do, but the Lord does with ease. Because you don't, common folk are not going to be able to do that. You can't pour contempt upon a prince, especially not in that time, because that's your head, right? Who has the power to do that? And as it says, weakeneth the strength of the mighty. Only one mightier can do that. He discovereth deep things out of out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. And who is able to do that? Bring out to light the shadow of death. In the NLT, it says he uncovers mysteries hidden in darkness, and brings light to the deepest gloom. He increaseth the nations and destroyeth them. Right? So the Lord can increase nations, he can decrease them, he can bring destruction upon them. He enlargeth the nations and straighteneth them again. And when you go into that word straighteneth, it actually goes into, I guess, like to guide or instruct or to lead, which really goes back to control, right? He has control over them, whether they're increased, whether they're destroyed, whether they're enlarged. He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth, and causeth them to wander in a wilderness where there is no way. So as it says here, I'll read both the NKJV and the NLT. He takes away the understanding of the chiefs of the people of the earth, and makes them wander in a pathless wilderness. NLT, he strips kings of understanding, and leaves them wandering in a pathless wasteland. They grope in the dark without light, once like a blind person trying to find their way around. And he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man. And these are people that are looked to as pillars, right? As support, as wise men, as leaders. And yet before the Lord, he can make them, like, as it says, like a drunken person that's staggering. And that's one that they're inebriated, right? So they're not in their right mind. Their sense of judgment is off. Now, Job is not necessarily saying that the Lord is going around doing exactly this, but it's saying he has the power to. Okay, before him, all of these people that are in situations that are looked at as impossible or high and mighty are nothing before Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And that brings us to the end of the book of Job, the 12th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Racha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.